Torturial and Shade disappear down the stairs beneath the church. Above them, the fight is not finished. One silver soldier tears himself free from Eleanor's water, coughing and furious. Another pushes through the scattered candles, sword raised. The third, wounded but still standing, sees Daenerys slip into the church library. He follows. Eleanor feels Evelyn's hand tighten around hers. The silver soldiers move toward them. Eleanor's breath catches. Then something inside her answers. Not the water this time. Something older, living, small, hungry. She lifts one hand, and the stone floor near the first soldier splits with a wet crack. A pale maggot, no longer than 6 inches, writhes out of the opening. The soldier looks down. The tiny thing launches itself at him. He screams, not because it is large, because it is wrong. It burrows into the gap beneath his armor, and his sword falls from his hand as he collapses, clawing at the metal plates. Evelyn stares at Eleanor. Eleanor stares too. I did not know I could do that. The second soldier reaches them before she can think. Eleanor moves on instinct. Water from the channels snaps around her wrist, then lashes outward like a living cord. It catches the soldier's sword arm and yanks him sideways into the stone wall. His helmet strikes hard. He drops. Evelyn pulls Eleanor back. You did it! Eleanor's hands tremble. I think nature is less gentle than I thought. Inside the library, Daenerys hears the final soldier behind her before he reaches her. She does not turn immediately. She lets him step closer. The room is narrow, shelves on both sides, a desk between them. Bad place for a sword, good place for a serpent. The soldier raises his blade. You should not be in here. Daenerys pulls a heavy, blue-bound book from the shelf. People keep saying that. He lunges. She drops low, her serpent body sweeping across his legs. He crashes into the desk, sending parchments flying. The silver sword skids across the floor. Daenerys snatches a bronze paperweight from the desk and strikes him once, hard, across the jaw. The soldier falls still. Daenerys breathes out slowly. Then she looks at the open books. Names, crossed out lines, 3 butterfly marks repeated again and again. Below the church, the stairs are narrow and wet. Torturial goes first, shield raised, spear angled downward. Shade follows close behind, one hand near the wall and the other ready with unstable magic. Above them, the prayers fade. The water softens. The humming grows teeth. At the bottom, the passage opens low and cramped. Bronze pipes run along the ceiling. Some carry water, others tremble faintly with the vibration moving through the stone. Blue butterfly symbols mark the walls. Down here, they look less like decoration and more like warnings someone polished. Shade keeps his voice low. This place was built. Torturial steps over a dark stain on the floor. Good, then someone knows where the exit is. They move deeper. The humming shifts as they walk, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, refusing to stay in one place long enough to trust. Then another sound joins it. A thin note from strings. Ahead, a woman walks through the dark tunnel with a lyre held against her chest. Her fingers move across the strings in small, uncertain touches, matching the humming in the walls. She is not playing a song. She is following one. Her clothes are travel-worn. Her face is pale. Her eyes stare forward, as if the tunnel has already taken hold of them. She hums under her breath, soft and breathless, never quite her own melody. Torturial raises his spear. Stop. She does not stop. Shade steps slightly aside as she passes, his central eye narrowing. She heard you. Torturial turns, keeping pace beside her. She ignored me. The woman's lips move. One word slips out. Rhida. Shade follows on her other side. Rhida, is that your name? Her fingers brush the lyre again. A note trembles through the tunnel. Rhida keeps walking. I think so. The humming grows stronger ahead. Rhida's steps do not slow. Torturial looks at Shade. She is not leading us. Shade watches the lyre answer the walls. No, something is leading her. Rhida turns down the left passage without hesitation. The tunnel hums, the lyre answers, and Torturial and Shade follow. Rhida does not slow down. The left tunnel slopes deeper beneath the church, the wet stone narrowing around them. Her fingers rest against the lyre, brushing a string now and then, just enough to match the humming in the walls. She is not guiding the sound. The sound is guiding her. Torturial keeps pace beside her, spear ready. Can she stop? Shade watches Rhida's empty stare. I do not think she is the one deciding. Torturial steps in front of her. Rhida, stop. She walks straight into the haft of his spear. Only then does she pause. Her feet keep shifting against the floor, trying to move past him. Shade's usual humor fades. That is unpleasant. Torturial lowers the spear just enough to let her pass. Rhida continues immediately. The tunnel bends again. Blue butterfly marks cover the walls, carved into the stone with rough, repeated pressure. The humming grows louder. Torturial's chest tightens with every step. There is warmth in the sound, recognition, and beneath it, pressure, like a hand resting on the back of his neck. He dislikes that part most. Ahead, the tunnel widens into a dark chamber. Rhida walks into the center and finally stops. Her fingers fall away from the lyre. The humming continues without her. Blue butterflies gather along the far wall. First a few, then dozens, then enough to turn the stone into a moving curtain. Torturial raises his spear. Shade lifts one hand, chaos gathering around his fingers. The butterflies pull together. Shadow gathers between their wings. A tall figure becomes visible where nothing had stood before. Its face remains hidden beneath darkness, but its presence fills the chamber before it speaks. Rhida drops to her knees. The figure turns toward Torturial. Its voice is calm, almost kind. What happened, Torturial? The name hits him harder than any blade. You do not seem yourself. Shade releases his magic, or tries to. The figure turns its hidden face toward him. Do not. One word. Shade's chaos collapses. No struggle, no flash. Gone. Shade goes pale, then steps backward into the darkest part of the chamber. His cloak folds around him. His central eye narrows to a thin line. For once, Shade does not speak. He hides. Torturial sees that, and understands immediately. This is not a fight. The figure looks back at him. Come closer. Torturial's claws tighten around his spear. His body moves before his pride gives permission. One step, then another. The humming climbs through his bones. Blue butterflies circle him slowly, never touching, only waiting. Torturial's spear lowers, then his shield. Then, with visible effort, Torturial drops to one knee. The chamber accepts it in silence. Rhida keeps her head bowed. Shade stays hidden in the dark. Torturial looks up at the shadowed face above him. For the first time since waking on the silver ship, he is not angry. He is afraid. The figure lifts one hand, slowly, gently, almost tenderly. It reaches toward Torturial's head. Torturial does not move. The hand stops just above him, close enough that he can feel the cold beneath the warmth. The figure speaks softly. Remember, you have always been a threat to others. The voice fills Torturial's mind. Then the chamber disappears. Torturial is young again. A young turtle, standing in the place he once called home. He was different from the others. That had always been the problem. He was smarter than they wanted him to be, sharper, quicker, harder to control. The other turtles did not see a child who needed guidance. They saw danger growing too early. They saw a mind they could not soften, a temper they could not break, a future they did not want near them. So they treated him like the threat they believed he would become. They pushed him away, mocked him, warned others about him. Every glance told him the same thing. You are wrong. You are dangerous. You do not belong with us. At first, young Torturial fought the words. Then he started believing them. If they already feared him, why should he keep trying to be harmless? If they already called him a threat, why should he stay small for their comfort? The thought grew in him slowly. Then, all at once, he would become what they saw. Not because they were right, because he was tired of proving them wrong. So he left. He walked away from the village and searched for power. Real power. The kind that could make every voice go quiet. The kind no one could laugh at. The kind no one could push aside. But the world outside did not give power easily. It gave hunger, cold, pain, loneliness, and anger. Always anger. Then, one day, when the anger had become the only warmth he trusted, a blue butterfly landed on his nose. Torturial froze. It was so small, so fragile. Its wings opened and closed in front of his eyes. And then, for the first time in as long as he could remember, the rage inside him went quiet. Not gone, quiet. His shoulders loosened, his breathing slowed. The world became softer around the edges. For one impossible moment, he felt peace. Then the butterfly flew away. The rage came back so suddenly it almost knocked him down. Torturial chased it, through trees, through mud, through fading light. The butterfly stayed just ahead of him, never too far, never close enough to catch. Then another appeared, and another. Soon the air was full of blue wings. They gathered between the trees, circling together until the space behind them darkened. A shadow took shape. A tall figure. A hidden face. A voice that knew exactly where to press. You want it back. Torturial stood among the butterflies, breathing hard. What? The quiet. The word struck deeper than any insult ever had. Torturial looked at the blue wings around him. The peace was still there, faint, close, waiting. His voice came out rough. Yes. The figure stepped closer. I can give it to you. Torturial wanted to refuse. He wanted to demand a price first. He wanted to be strong enough not to beg. But the memory of that silence inside his chest was too powerful. So the young turtle dropped to his knees. Please. The figure looked down at him. Then you will do my bidding. Torturial did not ask what that meant. He should have. But all he could think about was the quiet, the peace, the relief. So he bowed his head. I will. The butterflies closed around him. Blue light filled the forest. Pain moved through his body, sharp and beautiful. Something changed in his claws, in his eyes, in the anger he had carried for so long. It no longer felt heavy. It felt useful. The shadowed figure burst apart into butterflies and vanished into the trees. For a moment, Torturial remained on his knees. Then the quiet left again. Emptiness rushed in behind it. His eyes burned. When he opened them, they were blood red. And this time, when he thought of home, he did not think of belonging. He thought of return. Torturial returned to his hometown. Not as the child they had pushed aside, not as the warning they had whispered about, as the thing they had helped create. The village looked smaller than he remembered. The houses, the paths, the faces, all of it smaller. For a moment, no one understood what had come back to them. Then they saw his blood-red eyes. They saw the sharpness in his claws. They saw the way the blue butterflies drifted around him without fear. Someone screamed. Torturial moved. The memory does not show every strike. It does not need to. It shows doors breaking, bodies falling, shells cracking beneath rage that had waited too long for permission. It shows the village that once called him a threat, learning what that word could mean. And somewhere deep inside the memory, young Torturial felt something close to satisfaction. Not happiness, never happiness. Only the silence that came after everyone else stopped speaking. When it was done, the village no longer had voices for him. Only smoke, blood, and blue wings drifting through the ruins. Torturial stood among them, breathing hard. The quiet came again, for a little while. Then the memory shifted. Years passed in broken pieces. Torturial grew stronger, harder, more useful to the voice that had given him relief. He followed orders. He spilled blood when told. He learned that peace always came with a task attached. Then came the day he found 2 more bodies marked by fate. Denarian's parents. They stood against him. They tried to protect what was theirs. They failed. The memory gives no mercy to the moment. Steel, fear, a final breath, then silence. Torturial stood over them, red-eyed and empty, while a child remained nearby. Denarian, small, alive, looking at him with eyes that did not yet understand what had been taken. Something in Torturial faltered. Not guilt, not yet, but hesitation. The voice in him was quiet. The butterflies drifted calmly around the bodies. Denarian stared at him, and for reasons he could not explain, Torturial did not kill her. He took her with him. Years folded again. Denarian grew beside him, not knowing the truth. Torturial watched her become clever, dangerous, strategic, a survivor. He protected her when he had to, taught her when he could, lied to her every day by staying silent. And still, whenever he looked at her, some part of him remembered the bodies on the floor. The memory shifted one final time. A dock, silverwood, cold water. Denarian older now, standing near him. The silver city waiting ahead. Torturial felt the command before he heard it. A voice inside his mind. Soft, certain, impossible to ignore. Destroy it. His hand tightened around his weapon. The silver ship waited. Denarian stood beside him, trusting him enough not to look afraid. And then everything broke. The memory tears apart. Blue light cracks through the scene. The dock vanishes. The silver ship vanishes. Denarian vanishes. Torturial is back beneath the church, still kneeling, still looking up at the shadowed figure. His breath comes ragged. The truth sits inside him like a blade. Rhida remains bowed nearby. Shade is still hidden in the dark, silent now for reasons that have nothing to do with strategy. The figure lowers its hand. Torturial's voice breaks. I am sorry, Master. The word leaves him before pride can stop it. Master. The figure looks down at him. For the first time, its calm feels colder. You lost yourself. Torturial bows his head. I failed. Yes, the figure says softly. The butterflies around them slow. But not beyond use. Torturial does not answer. He cannot. The figure's voice lowers. You remember now. Torturial's claws curl against the wet stone. He sees the village, Denarian's parents, the dock, the command, Denarian's face. All of it. Yes. The figure turns slightly toward Rhida. And now, another lost one has followed the song. Rhida lifts her head. Her eyes are wet, but empty of resistance. The lyre rests across her lap. The figure extends one hand toward her. Do you want relief? Rhida whispers. Yes. Rhida whispers. Yes. The shadowed figure lowers his hand toward her. Torturial remains on one knee, still breathing like the memory has left wounds inside him. Shade stays near the edge of the chamber, hidden in the dark, saying nothing. Rhida lifts the lyre with trembling hands. The strings give a soft sound without being touched. The figure speaks gently. Then let the weight leave you. His hand stops above her head. Blue butterflies gather around her shoulders, her hair, her fingers, her lyre. Rhida closes her eyes. At first, she looks afraid. Then the fear loosens. Her breathing slows. The panic that dragged her through the tunnels fades from her face, piece by piece. Shade watches from the darkness. That is not healing. The figure does not turn toward him. It is relief. The butterflies settle over Rhida like living light. When they lift again, her eyes open. She is still Rhida, but something in her has gone quiet. Too quiet to be freedom. Torturial recognizes the calm now. He has felt it before. He has begged for it before. And remembering that makes his chest ache. Rhida looks up at the figure. What do you need me to do? The question comes easily. That is the worst part. The figure's hidden face tilts slightly. Walk with him. Rhida turns toward Torturial. Torturial looks away first. He cannot meet her calm. The memories keep cutting through him. His village, Denarian's parents, the dock, the command, Denarian's face. A sound escapes him before he can stop it. Not anger, not a growl. Something smaller. A tear slips down the side of his face. Then another. Torturial lowers his head, ashamed of them and unable to stop them. Rhida watches quietly. Shade sees it from the shadows and still says nothing. The figure speaks again. You remember enough. Torturial's voice is rough. I remember what I did. No, the figure says. You remember what they made necessary. Torturial closes his eyes. The words should comfort him. They once would have. Now they only make the tears come faster. The figure's voice remains soft. You lost yourself. Torturial swallows hard. I failed. Yes. The chamber stills. Then the figure adds, but not beyond use. Torturial's claws curl against the wet stone. Even kneeling, even broken, some part of him recoils from those words. Shade steps out from the darkness only a little. And what happens to the rest of us? The figure finally turns his hidden face toward him. You leave this place alive. Shade waits. That sounds like only half a promise. It is the only half you need. The butterflies on the walls begin to move, opening a path through the dark. The humming shifts with them, no longer pulling Rhida, pointing. Torturial rises slowly. His spear feels heavier in his hand than before. Rhida begins walking. This time, she is not dragged by the lyre. She follows the butterflies. Shade keeps his distance, careful now. Torturial stands still for one final breath, wiping his face with the back of his hand. It does not hide the tears, not really. Then he grips his spear and walks after Rhida. Behind him, the chamber darkens. The figure fades into blue wings until only his voice remains. Good. The word follows Torturial into the tunnel. Not praise, ownership. End of Episode 6. Uncovered.